Okay, we're gonna try this one more time. I just want to go over a few of the very important basics and fundamentals for any of the exercises that you guys do, whether it's Pilates mat work or yoga or working out in your home gyms, which hopefully will all be back in real places soon. I'm gonna get on the mat over here and we're gonna talk about shoulders and neck first. So, very important that when you are doing your exercises, no matter where we are, if your shoulders are up here by your ears, it's going to make your neck hurt. So try to drop the shoulders down and away a little bit. You open up your chest. And by the way, yes, I wore my Aggie colors for you guys because there are so many Aggie fans with me who I'm, a slightly reluctant fan, but not anymore. So let's talk about breathing for a moment. I'm gonna sit Indian style, and the reason I have the blocks is it's gonna show you that if you can't sit comfortably Indian style, you can sit on top of a block and just give yourself just a little bit of elevation. But I just want you to practice what it means to fill your lungs and then exhale. And as you're exhaling, the air goes out of your lungs, but also you kind of knit together your abdominals and your rib cage. So you inhale into your lateral rib cage, trying to breathe through your nose if you're able, and then you exhale, breathing out of your mouth or your nose, whatever you're comfortable with. But with that exhale, you tighten and knit together in the middle. So let's try just a few more of those breaths. Soft neck and shoulders. Try to inhale without shrugging, which is tricky. So here we go. Inhale and exhale. We're going to inhale for the count of 4 and exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it one more time. Inhale for 4. Expand your lungs. Fill your chest. And then exhale. 5, 4, 3. Squeeze out the last drop of air and tighten. So anytime we're exercising, we won't always be doing those big breathing motions, but I do want you to think of using your lateral rib cage, not breathing in and out of your belly necessarily. So let's go to the floor, and when you are on your back, we talk all the time about neutral spines and neutral head and neck. So I like to roll down. That's just kind of my thing to teach with everyone because I think it gets you in a nice stable position. And then you just rock your hips a few times. Not only does that feel good, but it helps you stabilize your pelvis and find a more neutral line and be even in both hips. So purposely, we're gonna roll the pelvis up and then drop the tail down. And you roll up with exhale, and you drop into your tail feathers with inhale. Now, if you put the heels of your hands on your 2 hip bones, and your 4 fingers down towards your pubic bone, you can recognize that your pubic bone goes higher than the hips when you're doing a pelvic tilt. And your pubic bone drops and your tail feathers drop into the mat, and it makes a little space under here. Now your hips are higher than your pubic bone. So finding neutral means somewhere right in the center where that pelvic triangle of hip, hip, pubic bone is flat. That's what we always talk about when we bring you up to this tabletop position, and I teach about hanging your knees in your fingertips. It's a really good way to find your neutral spine, and then just add a little bonus tightening where you pull that core down. You pull your navel in toward your spine, and let's practice here just a little toe tap and back up. Breathe out and breathe in. Try to notice that I'm not moving my pelvis at all. I'm staying very stable, pulling the belly nice and flat, but not getting too necky or getting gripped too much in the lower back. If you feel it too much in your lower back, then just reestablish your lines. Tuck those knees in, Try to find your neutral space. Hang the knees in your fingertips and start again. Belly holds you steady. There are your stabilizing muscles, the abdominals, the obliques, and the lower back muscles. And then you're mobilizing from the hip flexor, just tapping down and tapping up. So that's one super important detail about finding neutral pelvis. But with neck and shoulders, a lot of times you'll see people straining to do the Pilates mat work, and their head is like this, and they're looking at the ceiling. So one of my favorite fundamentals, most of my clients know this, is to do head nods. It's just like you're nodding your head yes over and over again. And people don't like that chin tuck because it gives them a double chin, but try to relax and not think about that too much. Just let your head nod up and down. And after you've done a nice number, maybe 15 or 20 reps, try nose circles, where you make the tiniest circle with your nose. It's as if I put a pencil on the end of your nose and you're drawing a circle on the ceiling, but it's just a tiny one. You're trying to move only from your top 2 vertebrae, which is right below that occipital ridge. Your top 2 vertebrae are inside your skull. So when you nod your head or when you do these tiny circles, you're moving only from the atlas and the axis, those top 2 guys. So once you have established some neck relaxation, and that's a really good way to relax at the end of the day, that is also the way that you prime your neck for when you're doing your abdominal work in the Pilates exercises. So you nod your head yes, and you follow that and look through your inner thighs. You could imagine holding an apple or a small orange under your chin. So if I look up at the ceiling, that rolls away. What we want is to hold that apple, and then you can do your motions, whatever it may be. If you're doing hundreds, if you're doing single leg stretch, you need to have that head where you can look through, or head completely down. You can still do the exercises with your head down until you develop that strength of holding the core nice and tight and then not making it too much come from your neck. You have to develop that, let it build up. All right, now back to talking about shoulders. When you are on your back, it's not too hard to recognize this, but if you elongate your arms, see how my shoulders rolled up off the mat? If I retract my shoulder blades, which means pulling those little chicken wings down and together in the back, it pulls my shoulders down into the mat and really stabilizes me from my serratus and my lats. So just practice a few times. The arms get really long, and then you plug them in and pull those blades down. Elongate and round your shoulders without shrugging. Try not to let them come up to your ears. Just keep them long, and then retract down and squeeze your blades together. That's the place that we want a lot of these motions to come from. Not rounded and shruggy, but plugged in and blades down. So those are some important facts. But my favorite important fact is about your abdominals when you lay on your belly. If you always hear this word, stabilize your core, use your powerhouse, and you're not exactly sure you're doing it right, here's your test. Lay on your belly, rock back and forth a few times to let your hips get really relaxed, and then come up to your elbows and just plant them right under your armpits and see what your shoulders are going to do. Try to plant those blades down and back, and now let's talk about the belly. If you are not engaging your core, then your abdomen will just sink down into, try to move my flowy shirt, down into the mat like this. But if I engage my abdominals, I pull the belly up away from the mat. So I'm going to be not engaging, and then I'm going to pull in and up and tighten my belly up toward the ceiling. So a lot of times when we're doing crunches or old-fashioned abdominal work, people push against the floor or against their abdominal wall. Try to pull up and away from your abdominal wall. That's how you practice engaging those deep core muscles. You can do it all the way down with your head on your hands. Just suck them in and up away from the floor, and then relax. trick that makes it a little hard is not to clench in your glutes, so it takes practice. And then finally, we're talking about on your side. When we do side lying leg work, most people are not really thinking, oh, this is about my waist and my belly, my abdomen, this is all about my legs. That's not true. I want you to really think about the waist coming up and away from the mat. I'm kind of pushing down a little bit in my elbow to pull my waist in and engage those deep core muscles before I then would do my leg work. If we did single leg or we're doing any kind of leg work on our side, you want to really focus on keeping a nice, strong, tight plank in the middle, not sagging into the floor, but pulling up and away. Where the neck is could be tricky, so if you want to lay it all the way on your arm, that's fine, but still pull the waist up and away. Okay? Those are super important details, and I want you to just remember, watch out for where your neck and head are. And I hope you'll join me for more exercises, and I will see you soon.